Hi there, in this video we're going to look at something called levels. It's the thing I do the most in Photoshop. I open up an image and I sharpen up the blacks and the whites. Ready, steady, cool, huh? Here's another example, looks good, and then bam, looks better. All we're doing is making the blacks and the whites super strong using something called levels. Let's go and do it now in Photoshop. All right, let's get started. So from your exercise files, go to File, Open. And we're working in our exercise files and we're going to be using O2 color. So double click to go inside there. Inside of here, we're going to open up levels O1. Click open. All right, so first thing is we're going to find this adjustments panel. Okay, so this is where we find a lot of the adjustments we're going to do in this color section. If you can't find it, go up to Window and come down until you find adjustments, and it should have a little tick next to it. Cool, and if you hover above them all, you can kind of see, I can't point to it as well, but you can see the name appears up here, watch. Okay, so the one you're looking for is levels. It's this kind of histogram looking bar chart type thing. Click on him once. Cool, and what ends up happening is nothing. Except to know that we've got this little new layer that we'll talk about in a little bit, and this big ugly thing opens up. Okay, now this thing is simpler than it looks, okay, because let me show you the technique here. Basically, this is all the color information in our document. And you'll notice down the bottom here, there's a black little pointer, there's a kind of a gray one and a white one. Basically what it's showing is that there's no really white information and no really black information. There's a chunk of other stuff. There's quite a lot of light gray. You can kind of see in here, there's a lot of light gray. And even then that doesn't really matter. Basically what you want to do is grab the dark guy and drag him to the right, click, hold, and drag him. How far? Just keep an eye on my image over here. You see the further I drag him, the darker it gets. What we want to do is basically drag him to the kind of first hump. Okay, so halfway up the first little hump here, and you'll notice that if I turn my preview on and off, okay, so my levers layer here, turn the eyeball on and off, it just really sharpens up the shadows or the dark parts. Same with the other side. Grab the white, drag it to the left, and how far do you drag it? Basically just halfway up the first hump. Or at least until you feel like it's looking good. Okay, there's no like absolute science here. It really depends on your image, but that's the really good place to start. Drag the both ends in until they're halfway up the hump, and often it'll fix your image. There's no specific way to drag it. It just depends on your image. So I can drag it to the left and it lightens it up, and drag it to the right and it darkens it up. So it really depends where you want it to be. I'm just dragging it back and forth, looking at my image until I find something that I like. Remember, turn the eye on and off. Have I made it better? Have I made it worse? Okay, it's better. It's pretty oversaturated, it's pretty sharp. And that, my friends, is how levels work. And it is the thing I do most often when I open up an image, especially if it's something I've taken myself, and it's a way to kind of really get the rich blacks and the pure whites. And what Photoshop has done is that it's put it on a layer that I can turn on and off. So later on I can come back to this and either make adjustments, okay, or just turn it off and go back to the original. Very quick, it's very easy. What you're going to do now is a little exercise. Go to File, go to Open, and there's one in there called Levels 2. Now what I've done throughout this course is that if there's ones that I've taken from a website called Unsplash, Unsplash is a cool website for commercial use images that you don't have to pay for. Okay, the only thing that they require is that you leave the artist name and where it came from. So that's what I'm doing. So this one here came from a paid stock library site. They don't require it. I paid to use it. This one here I didn't pay for, but Matthew Hamilton and his amazing photography just needs to be credited here. Anyway, so open up Levels 2, click Open, go through the same process here. Go to your adjustments panel, find levels, drag the hills in from both sides, the center slider, try left and right depending on what you're looking for, and that will give you some practice with the most common thing to do in Photoshop, in my opinion. And in my current opinion, it is time to get on to the next video. All right, see you over there.